We'll just wait for the stragglers. See how it all goes, shall we? Hello, my name is Roger. Thank you for joining me for this third lunch and learn that we've been put together. Today's title is We Should Be All Adopting a Zero Trust Attitude to the Digital World. And we'll just wait for any stragglers that may be turning up, and we'll then go from there. All right, we're now going to go to this level. Try again. I've got my glasses on. Right. Present to everybody. All right, today we'd like to talk about adopting a zero trust attitude in the digital world and what it means and why we should be doing it. My name is Roger. I am an author of books on digital crime. I speak a lot on exactly that same subject. I look at how the digital criminal is changing and how they are morphing into more resilient people. And I like to try and keep small business, medium business and not-for-profit organisations to a level where they understand that the digital criminal is not stupid. Some of them are, and that's where Darwin comes into the equation, and on top of that, interesting, we just lost Periscope, never mind. So we're now in a situation where digital world is where we live. So what I'm going to do today is have a little history on crime and digital crime, the types of digital criminals and what they are doing, how the digital criminal works, what are they after, more importantly, and how do we stop them? And then we'll just wrap it up at the end of it. If you'd like to go to this URL, there's a copy of my first book, which is totally free. It's not an ebook. It is a PDF version of the real book that went to print. So it is fairly informative about what happens in the digital world and how to protect yourself. So let's have a look at a little digital history, or a little crime history. When we started off many years ago, crime was one-on-one, or a small group of people attacking a smaller group of people. So it was one-on-one. There was no large tribe against tribe, but that was about as far as it went. In the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, we had the implementation of banks, we had stagecoaches, we had railways. And then from there, we had a small group of people stealing from a bank of a town, which was a large group of people. So we had the rise of Billy the Kid and Ned Kelly and Ronald Biggs and the Great Train Robbery. So we had this increase in the number of targets and the reduce in the number of people who were actually doing the crime. In 2013, when Target got hacked, it was a group of somewhere between 15 and 25 people stealing from 1 in 3 Americans with a credit card. So over 80 million people had something stolen from them. And this is an astronomical rise in why digital crime is such a problem. But more recently, we've had the hack on Sony Pictures. We've had the hack on the hacking team. And we also had the hack on Ashley Madison. And these also come to show us that it's not the problem of digital crime is not going away. In fact, it's getting a lot worse than what it is at the moment. So what types of digital criminal have we got? Well, the digital criminal comes in many variations, but they all have a basic theme. We have the script kiddies. These are the people who haven't got the technological skills to actually write code, but they have an inkling to be a criminal. And these are the people who download and use automated systems that are supplied by the real hackers. So they become really the scouts for the digital world, and they are the opportunistic people, the people who used to steal things from open windows. And that's what they do nowadays. Then we have the hacktivists. And the hacktivists are people who have been wronged in some way. We had the big targeting of Coke recently because they had too much sugar in their drinks. Someone was perceived to have done something, so they went into the digital world and attacked them. This is usually where people like Anonymous are congregating, and they are looking for targets of not only opportunity, but of social and economical viability for them to attack. And then we have the true hacker. And the true hacker is the one who writes the codes, who uses the malware, who creates the malware that targets our digital world that we quite happily live in. So, how do the digital criminals work? Well, in most cases, they work on trust. They use our psychology against us. And by building up trust, we are then more liable to make a decision based on something that really is intangible. If I meet someone at a networking event or a restaurant or a cafe, I size them up with who they are, I shake their hand and I get a feeling of who they are. I can see and feel and smell everything that's going on around them. So I get this large focus on whether I can trust them or not. In the digital world, we don't get that. And social media has become something that is really integrated into our daily world. And social media, how do we tell if this person is actually this person? And that is the hard part for us to understand. We can no longer guarantee that we are going to be protected because of how our emotions work. But online fraud and the ability for the cyber criminal to target us because we are human is what drives the main force behind it. And we've now been conditioned into how we react when we see something on the screen. From the 1990s, we had both Apple and Microsoft telling us that it was all right to double click on something to make it work. And that conditioning has gone forward into where we are now. And the mouse is probably one of the biggest accomplices of the digital criminal. But we also, how often have we gone to a site and there's been a pop-up warning from our antivirus and we've gone, it's just a warning, we're not going to worry about it, and quite happily proceeded through to it. So how do the bad guys actually do anything to us? Well, one of their main delivery systems is spam. And spam is what we get every day, all the time. And it's only because we've got comprehensive spam filters that 99.9% of it is removed from our email feed. But the criminals saw the opportunities that spam had, or email had, and we had the original Nigerian prince, or we had the original Viagra. But then the criminals took it to the next stage, and we then had phishing and spear phishing. And those two components brought into our world the Trojan, the worms, the adware, and the ransomware. And we now have this comprehensive attack weapon that the criminals use against us to get to what they want to do. But it also comes in other variations. We've got infected websites. We've got USBs and DVDs and things that we can download from gaming hacks, cheats. All of these things go into the digital criminals' arsenal. And they are very effective at using those systems to get at us. But the big corporations are doing things in the background as well. Google and Bing and Yahoo are employing scanning systems to remove as many infected sites from search as they can. And search is one of the criminals' biggest ways of getting us to do things that we shouldn't be doing. But Google and Bing and Yahoo can't do anything if you're getting an email and you're clicking on a link that's going directly to a website that shouldn't be there. So what is the criminal after? We know that they have a specific shopping list. And one of the things that we've seen in the last 12 to 18 months is this drastic increase in the amount of people who are being targeted because their information is being held at a digital location. So we have 145 million records stolen from eBay. We have Anthem, a health insurance company, Ashley Madison. And all of these things are now becoming, I suppose, noise in the background of what happens in the digital world. And we're getting to the stage now where we just ignore it. And that is really what they really want us to do. But what they really want is your money and your access to money. They also want your intellectual property and your trade secrets. They want access to your client's information so they can actually then target those people through the information that they gained. And they're also after your technology. And the technology is really critical to how we want to be later on down the track. Because our technology is what drives everything that we do. And whether it's a hacked PC or a Mac or a game console or a smart device or a server, it doesn't matter to the digital criminal because they can see the monetary value of what they've done. Because you've got a hacked PC or a mobile phone, they've got access to account credentials. So they can go to your eBay, they can go to your Facebook. They've got access to your financial credentials, not only your bank account, but what about PayPal and your credit card data? And they can use that information to get to the next level of who they're going to target. They can destroy your reputation. And by destroying your reputation because they have access to your Facebook, is something that is very hard to recover from. They can use your email and email all of your contacts with not only a link to a virus, but they can have something that people are going to click on that are going to go take the bad guys to the next level. They can use your technology to ransom, to encrypt everything on there so that you lose all of that information. We have fake antivirus. We have emails from, supposedly from Australia Post, but they can also hijack your webcam and take recordings of what you're doing. And then on top of all of this, they can turn your computer into part of the botnet network. And the botnet is really a robot network. You have no control over what information is leaving your computer. So you become a spam zombie and send out umpteen million emails. You can become part of a DOS attack on Microsoft or the White House. Or you can become a click fraud zombie. And a click fraud is when you go to a website and you click on an advert so that someone actually gets paid for it. And as I said, all of these components of your digital security or your digital life have a monetary value. And that is why they are quite happily after everything they can get their little hands on. But also to the digital criminal, it's just business. There's no personal involvement. They've got systems that quite happily take everything off you, and from there, they can do whatever they like. So how do we stop them? How do we stop these criminals from stealing everything that we've got? Well, there's a number of things we can do. We have to stop thinking we are too small. There's no such thing as being too small in the digital world. We have to stop thinking we have nothing worth stealing, or it will never happen to me. Or one of the ones I like best, and we get this constantly from high-level CIOs, digital criminals are idiots. Well, let me tell you, no, they're not. Digital criminals are probably some of the most intelligent people on the planet. And just because they've gone down the criminal path doesn't make them stupid. It makes them very, very dangerous to the rest of the digital world. The second thing we have to worry about is we have to put the fundamentals in place to make sure our security is up to a level that we can actually understand. And that comes in 5 components. They are: have a decent password, complex, more than 8 characters, unique for every site. And I can hear everybody going, but I can't do that. There are ways of doing it. Send me an email, I'll tell you all about it. Have to have antivirus, have to have a firewall, have to have a backup. And most importantly, when that little machine, doesn't matter whether it's your smart device, your laptop or the server or your website comes up and says, we have updates, you need to apply them as soon as possible. But there are 2 other things that you need to think about. In the digital world, you need to use common sense. And common sense means that if something is free, it usually isn't. If something is available, maybe it's not. If I click on this link, what's it going to do? And that's the thinking that we have to get into our brain about how we protect ourselves. And the last part, and some of the parts that really get to the level where people think, is get paranoid. Because the digital criminal is after you. And the only reason they're after you is because you're connected to the digital world. That's it. That's the only criteria you have to have. I am connected to the digital world. I am a target. And from there, you can understand why paranoia then becomes a really good defense. Because if you're thinking that that guy is after me, doesn't matter who he is, then you are going to do a lot more to protect yourself. The third one is get educated. And education is really critical in the digital world because how we do things changes so fast. 5 years ago, social media was just something that we thought about. Now, you can't get kids off it. And that's really important with what we need to do. And the other one, and this is one I've coined really recently, is trust no one. If we go back to this, we have a look at email attacks. I get compromised, my system is taken over, I send an email to all of my friends. And in that email I say, found this great site, click on this link, it'll take you to it. Now, the trust component between me and you is relatively high because you know me. And that's what they're relying on, because that trust is what protects us when it comes to the digital world. So trust no one. Because you never know when your best mate could be your worst enemy. So in conclusion, when you're looking at how you're going to protect yourself, then you need to know that there are certain things that you need to do. The bad guys are out there. The bad guys are targeting everybody who is connected to the digital world. So you have to think about what you're doing. And those 4 slides, nobody's too small. It will happen to you. Digital criminals are not stupid. And then you've got the fundamentals. And if you start putting all of that in place, then there's a really good chance that you will not be someone they're going to talk about on the news. And the good thing about digital criminals is there's so much targeting out there that if you make yourself above that basic level, then you have a good chance of not being the next target. So, I have a program. It's called Buy Me Coffee. And this is where, for a business, I look at your digital security. And if you use that discount code, $100 off for me, then it will reduce the cost to $390. And let me tell you, it's probably the best $390 you can actually spend. As I said, originally, we have a freebie book, but if you go to those two links, you can buy my latest book, which came out last year. If you want to contact us, email works for us, phone call, go to the website and fill in the form, or you can follow us on social media. And we're very active on social media. And then we have webinars and seminars, 2 to 4 per month. We are thinking about putting a proper webinar program together and a proper seminar program. Seminar will be somewhere between $200 and $300 per seat, and it will be a 4-hour thing. And it will be taking your digital security to the next level. So thank you very much. Are there any questions? So we got any questions about any questions whatsoever? And we can go from there if you like. Thank you very much.